fastest way to get over the problem with colors not matching is to force Groovebox plugin to use the terminal color palette. Did I spell that right? Palette. So yeah, let's see how to do that. There did that go? I guess that must have. MRC, is that a type? I imagine it is. Different ANSI prefix. I think it's 48.2, if I remember right. How's it going, Matt? I'm just doing some OAuth stuff today. So I'm just writing a little utility library so I can make the OAuth authentication flow a little bit easier. Hey, Jello. It just makes it tons easier. Yeah, no music at the moment. So if you want music, go ahead and turn it on for yourself. I'm making a little note here about this little fix I made in my Groovebox theme. Hey, Peter. So if you turn on Groovebox term colors equals 16, it will force your colors to match. If you don't do this, watch what you get. Well, now that I've fixed it, you're not going to see it. I already fixed it. There's two ways to fix this. So it turns out, I don't know if you guys care about this stuff, but if you're using Groovebox, this is Pop! OS, so and the thing that was off with Groovebox was this. So up until now, the normal color for this is 282828, and you'll notice that when I set that, that instantly this is out of sync. It's just barely. I know you can't see it very well. See how my background colors in Groovebox with VI are slightly different, just barely slightly different. Well, I actually did a little research in this, got digging into the VimRC, the plugin and everything. And it turns out that the CSS colors as defined by Groovebox are not consistent with the actual colors you get. There's an open ticket on it. And part of that problem is because when it comes to ANSI terminal, I know you guys probably don't care about this, but when it comes to ANSI terminal escapes, there are 3 ways to do ANSI terminal colors. So a little quick lesson in here. Making to a stream after on vacation. Hey, Red. So we have ANSI escape codes. And so these are the terminal escapes, right? So there's like multiple terminal outputs, and I don't want to get crazy with it, The ones you're most familiar with is 8-bit. So this is what's made Solarise so famous. So you get, your 8-bit color palette, which you can see in your preferences down here, right? This is like 16 colors. And how's it going, Malcolm? And so this is, by the way, this is the only way in Pop OS or GNOME to get this. You can't mess with your profiles over here. As far as I know, you can't hack that. So you just have to look up the values, and you can look those up on the Groovebox's site. I mean, since we're doing this, I'm going to show you the whole thing. You guys can make a little video about this. So here's the Robert. So here's the Groovebox colors, which I really, really love. It's been really inspired by Solarized. But as you can see, so in order to get Groovebox colors in Pop OS or GNOME of any kind, you need the GNOME terminal. They actually have predefined themes in Alacrity. Alacrity's got some other bugs that I'm not into right now. So I switched back to just using the default, plus I just rebuilt and I didn't feel like installing everything. The best thing about Alacrity is you can actually fire up everything from a command line. So you can like mess with transparency dynamically and stuff like that, which you have to come back to a prompt like this if you want to do it any other way, like this. But anyway, so returning to the point, so the default background is 2828 like this, but it turns out that the actual color from Vim, from the Groovebox Vim VI thing, the actual color is something else. It is this, and you can't see it, but it's actually 2.6, and I did a sampling of it. It's 2.6. And so that's why that color's been off. It's been really annoying to me, and there's an open ticket on it. So there's two ways to get around that. One of them is, of course, to go in here, once you found that out, to go in here and change your background colors to 2.6, which I did. And this is actually going to be a good retest of this, to force the Groovebox to use a 16 color palette, which is a temporary fix that's put in there, which forces Groovebox to use the different ANSI sequences, right? So if you use the good old 38.5 and 48.5, these are the old school 16-bit stuff. There's one for the 256 colors, and then there's another one. This is here, and that might be the one actually. And then there's another one for the 24-bit color. So this is the one. So this is 48.2 is what everybody uses now, right? So all terminals that support full millions of colors, the initial prefix in the escape sequence is 48.2, but that is only in terminals that support it, which is everything now. Now that Windows guys come around and got their own terminal now, every single major terminal on planet Earth supports millions of colors. And so you see people just using 48.2 all the time to do millions of colors. In fact, I have a little thing that does this. I don't know if you've seen this. Oh, it's not going to do it because it's not a terminal. That's right. I forgot about that. I have to give you a new window. So in this window, I can do it. Watch your eyes. So this just proves you got millions of colors on the terminal, and you get this, beautiful, fun stuff that you can write. If you want that script, by the way, here you go. I actually pwned it from somebody on the internet, the command line, somebody I follow on Twitter, and I fixed it up. So it's a fun little thing. So that's all it's doing. It's just doing math, and I cleaned it up a little bit. It was kind of annoying. You can't do floating point math without BC. Bash doesn't support it as far as I know. It might actually, if it does support it and I can drop BC, somebody let me know. That's a challenge out there to somebody. I would love to drop BC out of this, but I'm not sure. I think Bash, my initial quick test, Bash does not do floating point math still, but could be wrong about that. I believe Z Shell does, and Bash does not. I think that's what's up with that. That's like one of the only things I remember reading that Z Shell does that Bash does not do. And there's a million things that Z Shell does that Bash does that Z Shell does not do. Anyway, so that was the terminal thing. So why did I show you all that? Well, because when you're using the millions of colors, the plugin is obviously sending this escape sequence. And so that says, hey, use whatever color I tell you. I don't care about the palette from the terminal. But when you set it to 18 or whatever, to 16 colors, it's using probably this, I don't know which one it is. I think it's this one, 48.5. And it's using this mechanism, which sends it the same escape sequence, which says use the color that's defined in the terminal preferences. And so that's how Solarize worked, by the way. Solarize took over those colors. And so this is kind of cool because there's two ways to achieve the Groovebox colors in the terminal. One of them is to use the CSS type, millions of colors prefix, 48, what is it, 5? And then the other, is that right? Did I get that right? I want to remember this. So 48.2. So 48.5 is the old one. 48.2 is the millions of colors one. Is that right? I think that's right. I might be confusing 256. Anyway, oh no, I'm totally mixing this up because the old terminal ones, there's like a whole bunch of individual numbers for every one. See this? 91, all these numbers. That's what I'm mixing up. Okay, so let me recap. So we have the really, really old ones, which have a different number, a different combination, 33 colon whatever, highlight or not highlight, for every one of the terminal colors. And then the next generation was 256 colors, which had this, introduced these new prefixes. And then now we have millions of colors, which has followed on those prefixes and has 38.2 and 48.2. So 2 is the modern thing to use. Suffice it to say that Groovebox colors in Vim failed because it was using its own specific color palette, which may or may not have been rendered exactly the same way. So the fix to use Groovebox is what you care about. The fix is to force it to use, I don't know if you can barely see the difference here, is to force it to use the actual terminal colors as defined in your preferences by using the oldest possible escapes for setting the colors. And this just forces you to you don't really need more than 16 colors in your Vim. Your terminal, you might want more than that, but you don't need them in here. So you go ahead and save that. And now when I open it, it still isn't there. It's still not fixed. God damn it. It's supposed to work. That's what they told me it was working. You know what? This whole entire time. So I'm going to show you how I fixed it. I know, isn't that funny when I lead up to a whole thing and you learn all about terminal color and then it fails anyway? Sigh. Well, you know what? If I didn't fail on stream, I wouldn't be Rob, RWX Rob. That's what I do constantly. I fail on stream, so you don't have to. That could be my slogan. Anyway, here's me talking, all pontificating about why it's better. I still think that will work, and I've still got a problem, but I haven't got a chance. I'm not going to go fix it right now. So here's how I actually fixed it, apparently. Come on, work. Please work. I want this way to work. It's so good for that way to work. That was my software in a speech. Oh, right. Really? Yeah, it's going to happen. But I was completely sure that was the way to do it. And now it turns out this is what's actually happening. Groovebox is broken and you have to fix it. The Groovebox plugin is bork. There's an issue on this, and this is the thing that said it fixed it. And I changed it thinking it had fixed my colors, and it actually had not, because what I neglected to test it against because of my fail was this. I had already changed my background color to 2.6, which is the color that the Groovebox. I actually think that's why I went over. That's why I know there's a bug, because I went over there to go nail them on the bug. I was going to open a new bug, and there's like a ton of other bugs on the colors not matching. Because, I mean, look, I just showed you right here. 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, right? So, despite my embarrassment and not knowing the reason, this is not what the background is when you do Vim. You want 2.6, 2.6, 2.6. And if you do that, I thought it was this one at first. I thought maybe, they were just kind of off slightly or something. Nope. Was a little more brown. Yeah, this is not so. I mean, I'm gonna do it again. So you saw what happens when I set it to the right number, to the right one, right? If I set it like this and I open it, I get no problems. See that? The colors are identical, absolutely identical. You can't even see any difference. If I change it, and we saw that when I did their fix, it didn't work, obviously. So those are different things. And then so the last thing to do would be going here and to change this. And so if I go back to 2.8, you're going to see the difference. And it's like, I know it's this tiny little thing, but it was really annoying. I thought I'd talk about it. I thought it was going to be more of an interesting insight into how terminals work, which hopefully you did figure out. But suffice it to say, Groovebox is broken. So the Groovebox plugin is broken. The color schemes are right. I now suspect, after having gone through that this is wrong. Either this is wrong. There's only two possibilities. This is either wrong or it's been implemented incorrectly. Yeah, because and this is annoying as hell, because when you're trying to make your own patterns and stuff, it's not syncing up. I'll tell you what, it's not being managed as well as the Solarize project was, even though that guy fell off the planet for like forever. He just made it and left, a firefighter. That's a pretty fun, interesting story about the guy who invented Solarize. You guys ever study that one? It's pretty interesting stuff. So anyway, here I'm not used to your terminal like you are. Yeah, it would definitely change. You just can't see it. There's like a very small degree of difference between the two. And there's an open ticket in the Groovebox about it. So the fix is simply this: if you're going to use Groovebox on Populous or anything that has a theme, and so the first two steps, so I'll just recap and make it at least somewhat useful for you to watch. So the first thing is to get Groovebox colors in your terminal for everything. There's three things you have to do. The first one is you have to go in here and set customs, and you have to set these by hand to these values. While you're at it, you also have to change these here. You can make them whatever you want. I picked these colors from among the palette in here as well. But there's one exception. This is the reason I did all this. This one should be 2626 instead of 28. If you want your Vim Groovebox to match your terminal, make your terminal a little bit darker, which I actually like better. And then you close that out. So that's the first thing you have to do. The second thing you have to do is, of course, install the Groovebox plugin, which is done. I'm going to show you mine really quick. So you have the Groovebox right here, and I put it in my let's play some Minecraft. How's it going? We're probably going to do that at some point. So we're actually thinking about making a Minecraft a podcast on Sundays. Yeah, we were talking about that today earlier. Not in the chat, but here we go. So here's the Groovebox one right here. There's really nothing else you have to do. I went ahead and did, there's really nothing. You just have to set your color scheme. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, if you really want it to be nice, you need to have Groovebox dir colors. So if you don't have dir colors, it's kind of useless. And dir colors are, I'll give you mine here, but these are the same colors. They're using traditional Solarized, which means that anything that uses, by the way, anything that sets Solarized the traditional way by setting cyan and stuff, which is the same thing, by the way, for TMUX. So you don't have to mess with TMUX at all if you've been using cyan and magenta and stuff like that, because those match your terminal colors. So you get Groovebox automatically in your TMUX. You can, of course, depart from that if you want in your TMUX and put specific colors. What I did here, I made this, I made that text match this text, which is also off. For some reason, they didn't do that perfectly in Groovebox either. So I wanted that text to match, but otherwise, I could have done cyan here or whatever. So you don't need to mess with TMUX. It should be fine if you've kept with the 16 specific colors. But you do need to download a dir colors file for Solarized, which will also work for Groovebox because it uses the same sort of gradation. And if you want that, here's my dir colors file, so you can go put that in and try that if you want to try that. So hopefully that wasn't a complete waste of our time. It just annoys me that like little things like that kind of get under my craw. And yeah, fish work with it and everything too. So actually the fish work better with this than they worked with the external color palette I had before. So I'm super happy with that. Yeah. All right. So back to what we were doing. I've been messing with some Oath and Oath. There's a lot of reasons I'm doing this. One of them, the main reason I'm doing this is because I needed to actually go through the OAuth workflow and get consistent with it. I've regularly had to use it to go get terminal tokens and stuff, but I've always just sort of hacked my way through what is otherwise a graphic web process. And so I've been writing a little library in Golang to help out with this. And I'm currently on the server part of it. So here's the web server. It's set up so I can go test it. Actually, right now I can like curl from the server. I'm just kind of recapping for those who don't know. Localhost 8080 and log in, and you'll get this login RFA links to it. This is the links, which fish tank didn't know it needed Perl. Yeah, did you use fish, the one I sent you? It's the only one with transparency on planet Earth. Yeah, thanks to Undead Leech. So yeah, the other ones, ASCII Aquarium out there does not have transparency. Mine's the only one that does. I should probably make it into like an app file or something, but I don't want to encourage people to do PPAs for stuff they don't need. That's just bad form. So yeah, I could do like an Arch thing too, whatever, but it's just a script. So just you can go get it. Anyway, so this is the mock login page that I wanted to use to be able to practice the OAuth thing without forcing people to use, actual client keys and stuff. So I can test and all that. And one of the things I was missing on here was what would be submitted, and I'm actually fine with this now, so that I can go ahead and test it. So the next thing I need to do, I just looked it up earlier in the day. I was kind of confused as to how the mock login page gets all the redirect information and stuff, and it turns out that this is how it works. So it sends, so the API sends the thing, and it gets, it restream, this restream OAuth redirects from login to OAuth authorize, and it sends this query string. There's nothing doxing going on there. And this is the client ID. And then when I click on allow, then it redirects to whatever page I send up here, this URL here. And then that sends a post request that sends a redirect request that includes that data. Let me think if I got that right. Yeah. And that data can then be used to upgrade the code, the authorization code, to a token, and then store the token and use that for however long the token is valid. But how this query string gets up from this pretend like this is my mock page. How does the query string get up? Well, that is just automatically submitted. So that means that in my submission to this login page, so I have to start my server, and then I have to send a request to it. So that would be the next step. So then I'm going to test that right now with writing I have, it's not a server actually. It's, I think it's under requests. Nope. I think it's under, where is it? There's one of them where I have to actually open, here's the overall update. There, open in local and browser. This is very specific for now. And this will open a URL. So yeah, and that means that my overall process here starts out with, so if I want to update, so update is the main entry to the OAuth authorization flow for an existing cached OAuth application. So load the app data, got it all in there. And then what? And then we need to check for if this expires or not. But if we get all the way to the end down here, we should be running through authorize. Now, authorize is where we do all this extra work. So this is where I need to do, oops, that's not it. This is where I need to do the redirect. Wait, I'm going to have to open a new one up here. Okay, so OAuth go, authorize. So this is where we need to open request to exec, let's see, open local browser, And people have said, well, why don't you just do this from the command line as well? Because the code I'm writing would have to have very intimate knowledge of every single possible way of authenticating. And sometimes people are already authenticated. Sometimes they have to re-authenticate. Sometimes they might want to log out and authenticate with another account. All of those things are really, really dependent on the service, and therefore I can't really anticipate every one of them. So this is where we have to use the graphic browser as far as I'm concerned from a practical level. So we're just going to go ahead and open one. Again, the whole reason I'm doing this is to make command line apps out of stuff that is not normally designed to be used for the command line, like Restream, which is what I want to do. I want to get this little chat down here. I don't want to depend on WeChat anymore for this. So I want to be able to go directly to Restream so I can grab things like icons and emojis and all that stuff and not be completely dependent on WeChat. I'll still be dependent on WeChat for posting messages because WeChat Restream doesn't have a way to post messages in the API. You have to, all you can do is like, attach to the WebSocket and listen to stuff coming in. So yeah, the bot does get around the problem. The bot reposts everything to everything else so that you don't need to mess with that. So yeah. But again, I want to be able to read it all without the big ugly Restream notification. Somebody go to YouTube and post something. So watch, I'll show you. So like if I go over to YouTube, let's just do YouTube real quick. And the reason I'm doing all this is because I want to start streaming to multiple platforms. And so we have 2 people on YouTube there. Anybody brave enough to send me a message? I'll go ahead and send one. And the reason I'm doing all this is because I want to start streaming to multiple platforms. Hey there. Sorry for the double sound there. So now you see this, actually, is my bot off? It should have come in. Why did it not come in? This is not good. I'm kind of upset at this point. Where did my bot go? What is going on, people? My bot is not happening. Oh, I am so tired of this. This is why I'm writing it, because then I have more control. There should be a bot that's reposting to everything. I don't want to download a live stream video. I want chat app. Yes, I want the chat app. Come on now. Wait, did you get rid of the chat app? Is there no more chat app? Is that it? Or is this the chat app? Nope, that's not the chat app. Huh. Where are you? Where are you? This is not making me happy. I don't have any recordings, I know. I just want... Did something get blocked? Nope. Open in browser. What? So there's 17 people watching. I do like, that's another reason. So I want to be able to see who's watching and what's connected. That's all information that I can actually display in my client app using a terminal. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait. But I'm a little pissed right now because my bot's not working. So not my bot, their bot. So they have a bot that you're supposed to turn on. I don't think you have to turn it on. It's on relay mode. And it's not working right now. Unless I'm not seeing all the chat. Is that a possibility? What is going on, peoples? See, there's Penguin. See, hi, Penguin. See, this should be working. What is going on? Yeah, even more reason to not depend on the bot, which I'm really glad I'm not. Because look, the bot's not working. And today I was like, oh, the bot takes care of all your problems. Because why? Because it posts to Discord. Where's my Discord? The bot is supposed to handle the problem of communicating with everything. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to look at that. A pharaoh can't save everyone. What's registered under a Pharaoh? Testing live chat. How's it going, Panda? Hey, I love that icon. That's really cool. So yeah, see how it comes up here? But this is troubling me. Okay, so now the bot's all happy. So what the But see, here's the thing. The bot is not posting to No, now the bot's all of a sudden starting to post. You seeing this? You know what I think this means? I know I bridge bots are always interesting. Yes, they are. I think there's actually a problem here. Yeah, I had to look at it. Exactly. So there's a few reasons I still want to go through with this effort, even though the bot sort of helps. Number one, the bot's obviously not reliable. Number two, I don't want this shit. And, you know, and it's specifically on my stream. I mean, it's okay for it to show up in Discord and stuff like that so people can follow if they want. But I really don't like it, you know, elsewhere. Can't escape that. That's always going to be a thing. There's no way I can get around that. I mean, there's just not. So I'm starting to think now, I'm a little bit troubled. I'm starting to think that this actually has to be on. It is batched for sure. The batching, I definitely saw the batching. So I don't know what's up with that. Because I did notice on Discord that a few of them came in and it took a while. But this one here, I'll tell you something. No, this one here is worrying me more than all of them, because this means that the bot doesn't work unless this is on. And in order to prove that, I'm going to turn off this window and see if watch it be like a progressive web app running in the background somehow in my browser, so it's still going to work. Watch. Can you see this? Deadbeat test. So yeah. There's nothing from me here. Did you see that? Now, perhaps, oh, there he goes. It finally came in. Ping pong. There's like quite a bit of lag there. I mean, that's acceptable lag. I'm okay with that. That's the first time the Restream bot has come in from me, though, this evening. Now, what's really crazy is that I just turned it off. So it's almost like I had to kick it in the head or something. YouTube lag's a lot harder, I think. You know what? That might be it. I bet you that's it. I bet that the YouTube stuff doesn't get there within an acceptable time frame. Yep. So once again, all of this argues to have the least possible pieces between what shows up on my screen here with y'all and you know, the other stuff. Yeah, and yeah, microservices, they suck, right? This is not gRPC for sure. So yeah, and that's why I'm still going through with this project, because I still think there's a lot to be had by going through and grabbing the stuff myself. If for no other reason than that everybody can see it at the same time. Does that make sense? Because let's think about this. So the amount of time it takes YouTube to post a message and then to hit restream is one thing, but it's an additional lag for that bot to pick that thing up and rebroadcast this to everybody else. If you follow me, right? So even though, I have a problem here, guys. Yet another reason for me to make an app, because I'm going to have to filter out all the stuff coming from the bot. You see why? Because I have to keep the bot on in order for everybody to see everybody else's messages. But I don't want the bot to put stuff here, because Well, no. Let me think about that again. Actually, no, because the bot is. I assume the bot is not going to be posting a message to the WebSocket server, because it's going to be posting to everybody else. So actually, that's perfect. That was my original point. Okay, that works. So that means that by logging in and grabbing the WebSocket server output, I have the most direct message stream coming here from everything right here. And then I can keep it nice and clean and everything. And then it's up to the bot. The bot fails, who cares? Right? If the bot fails to send a message, the chances are I will still see the message, even though somebody in Discord might not see a message that came from YouTube. And there's going to be some loss there. There's just no getting around that. Particularly as we get more services involved. This is a big deal, man. You watch, somebody is going to eventually unify a protocol for inter-chat communication, a sort of streaming chat that goes along with the video. Twitch has got pretty close to something like that already. They have their videos are queued to the chats are all queued to a particular. So does YouTube actually, but somebody is going to standardize that. You think about use a keep alive script when you're pinging that URL to make sure the bot is active at least while you're streaming. Yeah. Well, we'll know real fast, right? We definitely do need to keep alive. So the whole reason for even going down this little rabbit hole of discovery is to see how much I might potentially need a command line app to talk to Restream, to talk to the API and set things. I already know I need it because I need to change like my updates. That's actually one of the biggest things that I want to do with it. I am so tired of going here every time I need to change. No secrets there, but of going here every time I need to change a title. And I got to tell you, it's not too much of a hassle. So clicking here, and see, here's the only service I'm using right now. Discord doesn't show up here. They probably should make Discord show up here on the dashboard, even though it's being used as a bot, because it does count as a service in the chat. Anyway, so you put a title here and it will change for everything. You put a description here and it will change it for everything. And this stuff is all accessible through the API, as are the profile and all that other stuff. So I was doing this with Twitch a lot, and I miss it actually. I miss being able to type status from the command line and have it mark. It actually mark my videos and set a status and say, "Oh, here you go. Here's this thing," right? And I don't know that I'm going to be able to mark a video here, but and this is where the app that I'm making, I'm a little bit. I'm kind of trying to think of some other things I can do with it. For example, I want to make it so that if I do mark, I want to start to be able to do a lot more marks. So a mark will set something that gets put in the Twitch API. But I've been thinking about figuring out a way to offset the runtime from the video itself. If for no other reason than to get near to the time, because you guys know about YouTube, right? If you put down in the discussion, if you put the dates in the discussion, I mean the timestamps in the discussion, it'll actually make it into a segment now. So I want to eventually have that. So if I do something particularly interesting for a given, and I think YouTube has an API for that. Let me go look and see. It's supposed to be an OAuth video, but I'm curious. YouTube, I can't search on the web. I'm going to do this instead. Wait, where are you? Okay, so 15-minute window, bot keeps live stripped. Yeah, live stream. It seems to need to be kicked in the head, so I do think it probably does need to keep alive. I think you might be right there. So YouTube, change YouTube video descriptions through API. I mean, it's got to be there, right? Please tell me it's there. Because if I do this, I can actually drop the Restream branding through a command. That would be really cool. It is possible to change the title and description of YouTube videos. Sometimes you make a mistake. I don't want to. I want to do it through an API call. Upload a video, YouTube data API. Nope. Looks like it's off again. The bot is off again. Yeah. So I think what happens is I only think the bot is on when that chat app is on. That's what I think. And I think it takes a while for it to die. But when you turn off that window, I think it eventually winds down and goes to sleep or dies or something. If that's true, then I might have a much bigger project. Do you see what I mean? Because I personally would rather have more control over cross posting stuff to other services. I'm pretty sure build a zero pixel Selenium interaction. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I subscribe. You see the video, check your data. Okay, so this is all stuff. Website with Oath2's API. URL parameters, video changes. I don't know. I don't want to get down the rabbit hole. See, another problem with this too is as soon as I go down this path, now I'm like writing a local module for logging into everything, right? And I don't know how I feel about that. That would be me pretty much rewriting Restream. I don't want to do that. Why doesn't the bot stay on? Someone tell me why the bots does. So are you guys sure the bots? Someone read. Did you write into the bot and it's not cross posting anymore, right? So I have to have that stupid freaking app on. Watch. I bet you anything. You wrote on Discord. Okay. Well, I think what we've just discovered, and this is a big discovery, is that the Restream bot does not do anything if you are off. And that is not good. You know what I think it's actually doing? I think it's probably doing it from the local browser. That would be really weird though. How would it get permission to do that? I guess it has permission to Discord and it's just posting it through the web. Holy cow. That's amazing. That it may be that the bot itself is built into the browser chat app. And that's why it's not running, because it's dead. It's turned off. You see what I'm saying? Now the bot is on, so testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that means that, hey Chris. So because if it's when you open the page, the connection goes up. Yep. So that would mean if I want the equivalent functionality of this app, I need to write it into my Restream app or to my customized thing or whatever. And that's a bigger project. It's a fun project, but it's a bigger project. It's one that would have to have API integration into, modularly into anything else. Maybe that's an opportunity for me to use the HashiCorp modularity thing. You guys ever see this? This is so cool. See if I can find it. I hate searching from the graphic browser. HashiCorp Golang modular. Can reverse the network traffic, yeah. Yeah. Well, I kind of like the idea of having the person who's running the stream controlling how things are getting sent out. Another reason I really like that is because I can send messages to the other streams as me, actually self-host an existing one. Yeah. I mean, you could, there is, I mean, yeah, I could probably just download the app and run it here. It's like, I don't want to reinvent everything, but it is kind of fun to write this stuff. This is pretty fun stuff to write. I do need a break sometimes from Pagan, which I love. You have a Telegram group that's using it? Huh. Let's take a peek. Map bridge, simple chat bridge, letting people be where they want to be. Bridges between a growing number of protocols. Slack, Telegram, Twitch, WhatsApp. Wow. Discord, Gitter, IRC. I just need YouTube. I need YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. Third-party support via the API. I guess I could write the API pretty quickly. Oh, DigitalOcean is backing this up, huh? This is one of those projects that DigitalOcean picked up. I hope they actually pick up my KnowledgeNet project at some point for free. That would be really awesome. They're so cool. In fact, DigitalOcean is so cool. I've decided I'm going to host almost all of my apps there. I'm not even going to mess with Amazon. US Select Telegram. Yep, they don't have YouTube live chat. So, I mean, we can probably integrate it or extend this one. God, they support, and it's a GoGet application. Interesting. Oh, look at that. They're using Toml. I made the logo. It's a really horrible logo. It's a big joke. I actually did, but it's a joke. It was a joke, and they took it anyway. Yeah. Wouldn't exist without these libraries. Mumble, SSH chat, Telegram. What's up? Missoula. I mean, if the real question is, does YouTube have an integration into their chat? Because that's obviously the main one. Yeah. The problem we have is, well, the YouTube has to work because Restream Spot is already doing it. So it just means we need to write our YouTube integration. So we probably need to make one for that bridge and see what goes on with that. You know what I mean? That might be the way to go, because then we'd be supporting this project. I still need the OAuth library because I'm going to need to do other things that are not within the scope of this. I wonder how they get around the OAuth issue. Have you guys looked? Has anybody looked at the code here? Third-party messengers, Discord, Facebook, Minecraft, really? That's cool. Reddit even? Wow, this is cool. Natively supported. That's cool. Steam even. I'm liking this more and more. Topic examples running in Docker. Where's the source? Show me the source. ARM? Really? I guess that makes sense. More sense now than ever. Uphill Slack. Go Slack again. I want to find their OAuth if they have any. Send loop up message to other WebSockets as well. All right. Telegram, WhatsApp. You know what? I probably just have to pull down the whole thing. Why not? Why the hell not? ARM is epic. Yeah, you've been doing PinePhone. I've been so wanting to get a PinePhone. I can't justify it quite yet, but I'm just going to take a peek at this real quick. I know this is git clone. Oh, git at github.matterbridge. What do you mean? Oh, let me do this right. I used to have a helper app for this, but it's all Bork right now. That's pretty much the story of my life. I make a really cool tool and then I screw it up because I, you know, and Strager would get on me for this. He hasn't been around for a while, but he'd be like, well, I use the same professional programming practices as I do in my personal life. I don't ever screw stuff up. I'm like, okay. Whatever. 42. Hub. Yep. GitHub. 42. What? Git clone. There, you go get this. All right. $200 for the Manjaro. Wow. It's more like, yeah, 3G. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised they have phones that work anyway. Phones have been kind of a problem for a while. They still are, if you ask me. But yeah, yeah. Authenticate. I'm gonna go for the Gusto. There is some OAuth. And there is already a package about it. You know what? I should probably read the OAuth package from Golang. Probably a good idea. What do you guys think? Transport cancel request no longer exists. Is it? Oh wow. Cable crimper. Yeah, those are fun. Yep. I have one right here actually. Yep. Yeah, I'm hardlined these days, even in the apartment. Yeah, I if I should say this. In a house that we bought like my ex-wife like 9 years ago. Well, more than that, like 15 years ago. I went to that, we were doing our walkthrough, right? It was one Sunday afternoon and we wanted to go see the house, and I asked the lady at the desk, I said, can we go see our house? And she says, yeah. She says, if I were to, just like put some electrical, just a little bit of electrical wiring in the in the house, do you think I'd get in trouble or anything? I go, oh no. She goes, what, I just want to run a cable so that it's there in the walls before they put the walls in. She goes, oh yeah, that'd be fine. So yeah, so the next day I got all dressed up, like with my jeans and my kit and everything. And I took my low voltage wiring, stuff. And at the time, Cat 5'd our whole house. I put all of the things where they were supposed to go. I put the whole thing in, and I'd never done it before. And it was so satisfying. Oh my God, I was so exhilarated. It was so exhilarating. There was nobody there. And anybody who saw me thought I was just another low voltage wiring electrician just putting stuff in. And it wasn't like I was doing anything against code or anything, right? If I had been doing electrical stuff, I probably could get busted for that. But and so yeah, so when they came to put the walls in, they're like, oh hey, there's a socket here, and they worked around it and everything. I didn't have to do anything else. I was so jazzed. And then I got divorced and lost that house. It was so cool. It was perfect. It was like every single port was exactly where I wanted it because I put it there. I didn't have to go, with the snake and go climb through the sawdust and everything. And that that stupid styrofoam stuff. Anyway, so a couple things from this that I just wanted to spelunk. I'm spelunking a little bit before the word got taken over by a stupid vendor app. So OAuth scope. So they're doing all the OAuth stuff here. That's all good. It does look like they're already authorizing. It looks like this particular bridge has already dealt with a bunch of the OAuth stuff. And that makes me want to maybe look into that bridge a little bit more before I do any more coding for the OAuth stuff. Because there might be something that's already done. It has been a really educational thing. I'm not going to... The stuff I'm doing right now, the minor stuff is I'll still finish that because I don't need this kind of thing. So far I have not found anything that just does generic, a really, really minimal tool that would be a command line that could be used to manage all of your different keys and stuff. And that's still missing from the world. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. And but yeah, so here we go. This is update the Oath app. It's making connections. This looks pretty significant. I mean, who knows? I can figure this out and get a job with Restream or something. I mean, it seems like a good company. That company's going places, man. Restream.io. Yep. One last thing. I'm gonna take a break, but one last thing. I want to go look and see what Restream is hiring for. I have nothing to do with these guys, people. So far I've been really enjoying their service. You can tell they're positioned well in the industry. Who's their competitors, by the way? I guess you're just using I mean, a bridge. You can't. Where's our main page? Restream. I want to go to your main page, Restream. How do I do it? Have to go to like business.restream.io? All right, I have to be not logged in. Okay, fine. Boost your reviews. Allows you to stream to 30 platforms at once. I mean, this is where it's at, if you ask me. Careers. Accelerate by improving distribution and monetization of live video content. Live video content is it. That is the future. All the marketing people are also talking about that this year, too. View all the openings. Product manager. Ukraine. Of course, they're all Russians. Please tell me this isn't a Russian-based company. Please, please tell me this is not a Russian-based company. I mean, I speak Russian, so it wouldn't be a problem. But I have to wonder. You found it. Hi, Peter. Soviet engineering. Exactly. Dude, the Russians are kick-ass when it comes to apps and computers. And yeah, they are. They do so good. Yep. You guys, everybody's seen I look at media. Have you guys seen Queen's Gambit yet? You should watch it. I love it. I love the portrayal of Russia too. They have a really great, it's all computer generated, but it's there's one point it just gave me goosebumps when they're looking in through the hotel across the Kremlin. I've been there so many times, it just gave me goosebumps. Hey, how's it going, Matt Fisher? Not hacker bands so much. We're just coding today. In fact, to tell you the truth, I've been doing a lot less hacking. Of course, I've never been really a big time hacker. More of a developer. But this is Restream looks like it's based. It looks like it's based in. You must have a master's degree in math, physics, or computer science. As a data scientist, so yeah, for sure. Are they going to be crunching? They are. They're going to be crunching our data, aren't they? God damn it! Why can't people just not crunch our data? View details. Restream is looking for back engineer. I believe in small teams. Yep. Develop and maintain Restream services. Review feedback. Maintain a pulse emerging. Blah, blah, blah. Scrappy. Where'd they get that word from? Go, Rust, and Node.js, of course. And at least two other following programming languages. PHP 7. Does this mean I have to learn Rust? Because I fucking hate Node. I hate Node more than I anticipate I'll hate Rust. I hate this. Node is going to get you the job way more than Rust will, though. Although there's a guy who just got a job that I helped mentor for 3 years. He just got a job, starting job, first job, $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. Congrats. You know who you are. He's out there. So proud of him. Yep. He learned Go with me, taught himself Rust while he was here, and got a job for a company that uses both of them. Boom, $100,000 first job as a junior developer. I'm so blown away by that still. So, yeah, the money languages are these three. I have no doubt. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be doing backend engineering, you have to know Node.js, and you have to know Go. Rust is not so much a backend language; it's becoming more so. But Rust is more deep end stuff, right? So, just you. Did others lose sound or just me? Sorry, guys. Am I talking weird? Gotta learn the frameworks for the frameworks. Yes, I know. It's so true. Every Western German secretly maintains a 3K star repo. Yes, fixed. So yeah, so there you go. If you want to work a Restream as a backend engineer, you have to know at least two of these languages. And by the way, TypeScript is awesome. I started out kind of tentative on it, and I saw Phaser Phaser. You guys know about Phaser JS? We're gonna at some point I'll do some Phaser stuff for fun. It's fun to make games in it. Phaser JS, Phaser.io, Phaser.js, whatever it is. Yep, there it is, Phaser. It's a fun little, HTML5 game framework, and they migrated it to TypeScript, and it's beautiful. The code base is beautiful. So, and it's a pretty big code base too. So, I'm proficient in database design. Well, yeah, that I know. MySQL and Postgres. This is my baby. I knew it. I knew that in 2007. I knew it. NoSQL. Bleh. Fine. Redis is the one I'll learn. I haven't gotten really deep into it. I dabbled with it. APIs for web services comfortable with AWS Linux. You know what? I'm going to save this. I always like saving descriptions of backend engineering jobs because I think that's where the hard work is. I mean, they're all hard work, right? But the stuff that I would enjoy, I guess. AWS Linux Docker Kubernetes continuous deployment. Yes. But you don't have to be a DevOps person. You just have to know how to deploy. I hate that you have to know AWS, but you do. You obviously do. I don't think they mean you have to know all of AWS. I think it means you have to know, enough, like how to deploy ES2 and whatever it is now, what do they call it now? Some basic front end. Yes, that's me. Modern framework. Vue is my baby. Strong written verbal, strict direct analytical, passionate Restream product. Yes, I am. I think Restream is where it is at. Startup environment, daily work with the founders, no manager to watch. Directly influence the direction. Wow. Compensation, salary plus equity. Dude, they're going to fucking blow up. Either them or somebody else like them is going to blow up because they are right in the middle of the money stream. Constantly feeling we're creating something's cool. Yes, agreed. Founded by creators, influencers, broadcast video, live to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, Periscope, blah. Thousands of users worldwide. Trust Restream's free premium, including Microsoft, Zynga, Gameloft, etc. Ah, there you go. They have a Ukrainian office. Это очень хорошо. Это. Мне очень нравится Остин, Texas тоже. Да. Да, я был в Texas несколько лет назад, когда я работал для IBM. Иногда. Well, this is good. This is good for me because this is good for me. What would you rather learn, people? Would you rather learn Rust or Node? Rust or Node? Rust or Node? If I had to choose whether to code Rust or Node, what would I rather code? Depends on how back-end you want to be, right? I think if you're going to be a back-end engineer, I think Node.js is way more important than Rust. I just think Rust would be a much more fun language to learn. You pick all three. Yeah. AWS is super big. It is. It really is. AWS has their own Twitch channel. Yeah. Well, AWS pretty much bought Twitch. So big it bankrolls Amazon.com. Yep. Go and order for me for sure. I think Rust is my third. So I'm gonna. This is good to see here. So I'm gonna. PHP can bite me. So go Rust, only because I've been burned by PHP so many times personally. Security flaws in the memory leaks, you name it. It's a piece of shit. These three are up and coming, particularly TypeScript, now that we have Dino. You guys play with Dino? Anybody play with Dino? Dino is awesome. I love that project. It's got a few quirks here and there, but so yeah, that's being top of your game and the whole thing. So go and Node.js. All right. Well, I think I did enough of that. I'm going to go ask my wife. I think I'm going to need to go walk the dog. It's not a euphemism. I'm not going to drop the stream. I'm going to go ahead and keep it going so you guys can chat if you want. When I come back, I'll keep streaming until I pass out, and then I'll go do something else. How's it going? Low order bit. So talk amongst yourselves. I am going to go ahead and finish this little sort of helper. It's more of a helper package. It's not designed to be anything really massive. It's not a full-blown OAuth integration. Actually, I'm kind of glad we did that little spelunk into, research into OAuth because I just did discover that there is an extension for OAuth in the Go standard library, the non-standard library, the X whatever. And so that to me is enough to not mess with stuff like making login pages and stuff like that. I just need to do enough of that so that I can write a little helper library so that I can then write command line utilities that can authenticate or that can trigger the authentication flow and keep track of all of that cached stuff for multiple different terminal applications. And that's what I don't think exists, and that's what I'm trying to build. Yeah, because I have like, a dozen different services that I want to keep, stuff going on, right? If anybody knows for a fact that some of those OAuth libraries do keep track of all that stuff locally and manage it, that would be something to look into. If it does, then that would be reinventing the wheel at that point. I don't think so. I'm just gonna if it comes up in a few seconds, then I'm gonna just say, okay, here we go. Amazon, Bitbucket, Facebook. What is this? All of the different OAuth stuff. Holy cow! What the heck? Oath2 for Go. Packages contain a client implementation for Go Oath2. Spec. It is a client implementation. Oh, there we go. That's the one. Command line get the repos. What I want to know is how does it cache everything? You guys know? How does it cache it? New client register. See, I think that this seems to me like, oh, fucking hate contexts. Oh well, we have to use them anyway now. Scopes on enterprise token redirect user. Redirect user to consent page to ask for permission for the scopes. Yeah. Conf.auth code URL state. Access type offline. Visit the URL for the auth dialog. Boom. So that prints it out, so you have to click on it. Okay. Using the authorization code that is pushed to the redirect URL. Exchange will take place at handshake. Yes. Let's see. Exchange will do the handshake to retrieve the initial access token. The HTTP client returned by contact client will refresh the token as necessary. Scan the code. Where did it get the code from? URL. See, this doesn't do it because it didn't start up a server. Auth code URL. State. Access type offline. Redirect user to consent page. All right, that gives you the URL, but that doesn't start up a service to do the localized thing. Use the authorization code that is pushed to the redirect URL. Exchange will do the handshake. To retrieve the initial access token. Get conflict client conversation. Get. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. HTTP client timeout. This does the lookup by itself. Wait. Client requesting a token. Now this just sends up. This just promotes the code. I'm thinking, right? The URL for the auth dialog. Yes. But then what? The only thing I can figure here is that this is doing something magical behind the scenes to fire up a server because something has to handle the redirect. I still don't think this stuff is designed to work with command line scripts. I just don't. It's designed. All this stuff is designed to work with a standard system. Like where you're passing up stuff. I still don't think it does. I just don't. I don't. Because the one thing that those things don't do, and they're not going to do it because it's too magical and tricky, is they're not going to fire up a local web browser as for the redirect to receive the stuff that you can then promote. And you have to have that because it's only passed. If Restream only passes it to the to what is redirected, and it passes it as a query string. So it passes back code as an authentication token, not as you know, to later be done up as an authentication token, but it does it as a query string. And that redirect comes from the graphic web browser. And so you have to fire up a web server to intercept the redirected URL. And I didn't see anything in here that does that. Now, it might do that. I still need to look some more. But it would be very unusual for a standard library of any kind to do that, because that's what we're doing is kind of hacking OAuth that's designed for a web application to work for a terminal application, only because it hasn't been implemented in the way. I guess there's another OAuth way for doing terminal-based stuff. Native applications, a thing that doesn't require that extra interactive redirect step. But most of the services that are out there that I want to use don't do that. They don't support that. They only do web-based applications, which have this built-in, that the client key and everything gets stored on the server side, and no user ever sees that because they're only accessing that thing through software as a service, and they're using it that way. And so the Oath2 APIs that are supported by most of these, by Spotify and everything, and by Restream are not. I don't know about Spotify, but for Restream are not. They don't allow it. They only have the one. So anyway, I'm gonna mute for a bit and put you guys on the fish, and I'll be back. Do do. All right. What's going on, people? I should put my back at whatever time frame thing. All right, so I'm just gonna. I think I have sufficient justification to continue doing what I'm doing, but I do definitely want to look in the packages. I'm gonna make a little note of that before I forget. I forget. That's what happens when you get old. Need to time and really all the Golang library. I'm gonna be lazy here. If I do this, and when I save it, watch this magic. If I save it, it'll automatically turn it into a link that searches the internet. I still need a little tool to keep track of to cache tokens and such for command line apps that use Oath to but the bigger stuff should probably use one of those libraries. So here's something kind of cool. So yeah, that automatically makes a link. So when it gets published, oops, there it is. So when it gets published, it now has a link that runs through and does a search on the internet for it, or it should have anyway. Did it not implement it? I'm going to be mad. Why is it whenever I do stuff online with you guys, it never works? Stuff that works like constantly. It didn't. You know why? Because it's on 2 lines. That's why. That's why. So I can't show off my tool. I found a bug in my tool because it doesn't span lines. Because reasons. So at least I'm glad I checked it. I had a broken link. So now I can go back and look and reload. And let's go grab this link here. Nope. Reload again. Where are you? There we go. So now it does the search. So yeah. And the mic's back. Hi, Broken Malware. Yeah, for now anyway. Can't promise it'll be back forever. I did get a new board that's going to let me listen to music and play through the mic. It's a little bit more money, not a lot more, but it's going to let me do a lot more miking. So yeah, I'm running on a few hours here, and then I need to put my schedule up someplace on the site. I made a new welcome thing today, but I'll finish this thing. Okay. So this opens the browser and redirects you locally to whatever the URL is. Now I need to make the URL, so let's do that. So URL equals println, actually sprintf URL, and it's going to open the website. So to give you a sense of this, let's see which one it is. Is it this one? Nope. Hey, we even have a Periscope viewer. Welcome from Twitter. This is something I do want to get in the final product. I want to be able to see these summaries from the command line. I think these are valuable to have. That's available information. I'm going to use CView for that. Essentially, I'm just going to make a product that uses this. We've determined also that the bot does not work unless this is on, which means the tool I make is going to need to synchronize communications between everything unless I want to activate the bot and leave it on in the background, which I'm also kind of okay doing at first until I get it all done. I don't want to spend too much time on these projects. They are fun, and I'm learning a bunch of cool things. But particularly OAuth. OAuth is not particularly a fun thing to learn. So this is what we need to do right here. But it's essential, right? So API restream. This is the kind of URL that I want to go to. So I'm just going to copy that out, and I'm going to put that in here. Have I used the Colmark keyboard layout from before? I do not know what that. You're talking about Dvorak? I don't know what you're talking about. What is Colmark? Colmark is a keyboard layout for Latin script alphabets. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. I do have Russian on, though. Yeah, check it. So, Привет. Привет. Malchikov. Привет, Mal. That's weird. I've been doing my phonetic Russian a lot more lately. All right, so paste this big old long thing, and let's fix this up. To ampersand, client ID is the d dot client ID. Actually, what am I doing? Redirect URL is, I did this already, so I'm kind of just repeating it. I already know this works. I've already gone through the whole thing and made it work once. So I'm just kind of doing the exercises now to do it right. So d dot client ID and d dot redirect URI. I think that's what I called it. VI app data. So this app data is going to be stored in my author for any app that I use that uses OAuth. So it can kind of be saved together, sort of like, like an SSH directory or something like that. So that I can have multiple apps that use OAuth tokens and manage them all the same way. And I've already got like 4 or 5. I was using shell scripts for this. So this is just taking it up a notch. Redirect, refresh token, login URI, token URI. Actually, that's kind of a given. I think it's just local dir. At one point I was not going to hard code local dir 88. I'm going to make it a constant. Let's just do that. I don't know. Do I need to do that? Yeah, I do. For this kind of thing, I do. I mean, this is kind of a tool. It's not a big deal. So do I make it a variable for the whole package, or constant? And I'm going to make it a constant. It's going to be 8080, and that's it. If 8080 is taken, you'll need to use something else. You know what? Let's not get draconian about this, shall we? Okay, so let's say the redirect URI is here. So the login URI is the first one. And that has to be the same, by the way. That was something I missed the first time. I busted my head on that on Raystream. And if you change the redirect URI, because I had like one local one for, I thought I could have a different name for 2 different redirects. And you can't during a single session. They have to be the same exact one, even if they are doing different things. They take in different data. So there's that. URL, where's my URL again? App data, new app data. Nope. Where did I go? I got lost here. Here we go. Okay. So redirect URI is easy. Now that's in here. So redirect our URI. And then the last one is the state. Now, state up until now has been, no, there would never be. They're too slow. Go's not a 3D language game programming tool. That would be more of a Rust C++ thing, or a C# thing. So what do we got? We have, so when we do an update, we are going to set up a state token, and the state can be set for this particular app, and so but we're gonna set it on the app for the rest of our activity here. And because because this is something that's going to get us, we have to be able to communicate across the barrier of the thing doing the client that's doing the request and the thing that's handling the response, the server. And that can be done a number of ways. It can be done through a channel. It could be done, which I have already, or it could be done as a global with a mutex on it. I mean, this is like not a big deal. This is a small scale kind of tool thing. So would refresh app data, direct get the state, get the client data, redirect UI. And the state. So the hard part about this is that after I open the browser, I have to start the redirect server, which is going to need to know about the state. And the redirect server is only going to be answering from that. The other thing about this is that each time a server opens, it opens with the scope of a single app data, which means it has a state. So that way I can hand off to both of them. And even though the other one is on a different, go routine, concurrent thread kind of thing. So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and set the state. That will set the state to a local variable, to a unique thing. And yeah, so here's what it does here. It just sets it to a base 32 string. And yeah, I love that little unique package, by the way. If anybody wants a copy of that, it's a tiny little stupid thing, but I got to tell you, I love it. It's one of my greatest hits, I guess. It's so simple, but I tell you what's really amazing about it is that CMD, where is it? Oh, UID 32. This one, oh, the code for that was so much fun to write. I know it's this simple, stupid thing, but it was very satisfying because it's like this actually gets, it reads a certain number of bytes, 20 bytes actually, and then chops up a certain number of them and then encodes that to a string. It's a really basic thing. But this one is actually, this is the fastest way to do a UID. It just uses a v4. And this is not particularly original, but the way that we did it to get around the variant bits. This is interesting because that's actually one of the ways that is recognized. Anyway, it's a tiny little utility, but if anybody wants it, this is where it lives. And okay, it's all about the level of entropy. You get more entropy with the base 32, which is why I built that. It's actually a better UID scheme for most random numbers, but people don't use that. They use the stupid UIDs. All right, so we got the redirect URI, and we've set the state on it, which we now also have to pass. So let's do that. The state can be renewed anytime. It's kind of like a session that kind of travels with the app data. And nothing can mess with the app data that doesn't have that state set already. It doesn't know about it. So it's kind of like a temporary password just for dealing with anything that's going to touch the app data. And then when we open up the so the next thing is we need to open up the server, and I've already done that over here as a test. So make a look up the code for that. So we've got, there's our server, start server. So we pass, so that part's done. Should probably have a timeout here, but I'm going to leave one off for now. Again, this is all really high level utility kind of stuff. It's not meant to be enterprise grade. It's meant to help you make a tool that uses a command line interface to an existing service that uses OAuth. So, so this, I don't know if you saw that, but that meant that I had to pass in a server. So the magic of this little gizmo that we're making is that the OAuth process, let me show you. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's just, so they have a little diagram in here. The OAuth is just not fun. It just really isn't. Trying to find out. There it is. All right. So, oopsie. All right. So here we have the OAuth. What happens? So you have a client. It says, give me an authorization request from the resource owner. And he's like, okay. And it grants you the authorization grant, which in this case is a code. There's multiple ways, but in this case, it gives you a code that only lives for like a minute. And then that code has to be sent back up and says, okay, give me a real token this time. And he's like, okay, here you go. Here's a token. And here's how long it's going to, it has an expiration date on it. It says how long it's going to be valid. And then, so again, that was this is a different server. This is the authorization server. All right. So this is how you have two different parties involved. But so what we're doing with this script that we're writing, it's really a script, even though it's written in Go, is we're mixing these two. So the authorization server, and normally that would be a bad idea. You would never do that. But because we're creating applications from the command line, standalone applications from the command line, for which we have the client key already and the secret key as well, the client ID and the secret key, then we can do both of these steps and not have a problem. And there, OAuth has another flow for getting around that. There are other flows, I'm almost positive, that lets you do that with just a single token request. But in this case, because all these, as I've said before, because all these APIs have been written to be used for web apps, which kind of angers me, they require this whole thing. So to make a terminal application is really hard. You have to, first of all, it requires you have a graphic browser, which is really lame. Really lame. That really, right there, that just like really upsets me. That the whole world is running off this fucking authorization protocol that requires you to have a web browser. I hate it. So it goes back here, and then it goes to the authorization server, and then it comes back, and the access token comes back to the client. And that's the token that you can save. And yeah, and then once you have the token, you can send the token up and up over all the time. And I have already written up the other code for the update, which says, hey, is the access token about to expire? And if it's 10 minutes from expiring, and there's a refresh token, it'll automatically re-request through using this way. Only this time it'll use a refresh. So there's like 2 or 3 different kinds. There's the first one, there's a refresh. I think that's it, actually. And so there's different ways to get the token depending on what you know already. And some of them, oh wait, I think it's authorization grant. Yeah. So after you have a token that's been expired that you just want to refresh every time, you can send up the refresh, say, hi, I've got a refresh token. He's like, okay, here's another access token and another refresh token. Here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. And you can keep doing that for as long as you want until you want to expire the thing or until the resource owner decides, hey, I'm done with that kind of thing. So that's what's going on. And So yeah, we're going to open up this. At least that's my understanding of it. I get things wrong all the time, so chime in if I've gotten anything wrong there. And so yeah, the cool thing about this is that we are spawning a URL. So we're forcing the user to open up their web browser and go to that URL on the local machine, which is a graphic web browser, and that will at some point that'll get smart enough to detect. Actually, I don't need XDG open. I just need URL. That's all I need. And so we're doing that. I mean, at the same time, we are also starting the server, a server that is very specific. It's on a very specific port and is just there for this this application. And I'm kind of glad actually that I went in here and I added just now this for the different server, the refresh ID, because that's kind of cool, because that means that you know, somebody may have a different combination of applications on their computer, and they may want to pick different local redirect URIs, just depending on, you know, how that is, so that they could actually have two command line apps run at the same time without having them step on each other for that authentication step. And as long as you know that, I mean, I thought about getting fancy and detecting when the port's busy and then incrementing by one, which you could also do. Maybe I'll add that later, but for right now, as long as you have to, you're kind of maintaining this list of all the apps that you have and services that you have that are all, you know, cached in your auth that have all your tokens there. All this app data is in there, and in there you can say, okay, I mean, you already have to put the client data and the client secret in there. That has to be in there. That you can't do anything without it. So if you're going to put that in there, you might as well assign a local URI for each one, and then just be assured that they're all that they're all unique. And this tool I'm making, this OAuth command line tool, is designed to help you with all of that, so that you can then integrate it into shell scripts even. So that you can just write a bunch of shell scripts and then call OAuth whatever, and then get the tokens that you need and pass them up however you need, and use curl, and you don't have to use anything else. So another cool thing about this is that this is kind of a hacker tool, and I didn't set out writing it to make it a hacker tool, but it definitely could be used for hacking, because it allows you to script things with OAuth that I'm unaware of any other tool that can do that right now. I mean, I think curl might have some. Does it? Does curl support OAuth? I mean, the whole idea. Whoops, I spelled that wrong. Of adding on. Oh, God damn it, Rob! Really? Using the curl CLI. I just want to read about this for a bit, see what's going on here. How to perform OAuth2 with curl. When it's given that prompt, but users should be easily adapted for Linux and Mac also. You need a Google client ID and client secret, of course. Credentials in the following example: scope is cloud platform. Modify the scopes. Blah blah blah. Copy the following. Boom boom boom. Scope. Yep. Endpoint. At some point we're going to have to add scope to my project, but Restream doesn't have scopes really yet. They just give you a standard scope for everything. I noticed that Twitch does the same thing, sort of. I think it identifies different scopes, but I don't know. It's not like GitHub and GitLab, which are very specific in their scopes. They actually, you know, observe read-only scopes and stuff. Endpoint accounts. Yep, there we go. URL endpoint, blah, blah, blah. RAM start Internet Explorer. See what I'm saying? They're doing the same thing here, guys. So they are starting a URL, but this is really interesting. They're actually doing exactly what we're doing, just doing it in a different language. So they're starting up Chrome, and they're going to the redirect URL, and they're telling it where to redirect to. You see this right here? That's interesting. They're using a URN. I might be able to learn something from this. You see this here? That is very interesting. They're totally cheating. So curl says, I want, so this has to make, so first of all, they have to have something respond to that redirect, and that's what's going on here. So set auth code, enter code displayed in browser. Wow, this is really cool. How's it going, Serene? This is really fascinating stuff. I might be able to steal this idea. So they're doing data client ID, client secret. So this is the request that gets, this is what upgrades it. And then they go to what comes after that? Redirect URN, IFT, what is URN, IATF, new object, grant type authorization code. Holy cow. So this must be something that only the Windows kernel understands. Huh. That's really fascinating. This must be, yeah, you can't. Example code command using access tokens. No, we don't want to use access tokens. We want to use Windows batch script. I don't want to use Windows batch script. I really want to learn about what that URI format is. A URN. The endpoint, URN, projects, zones, instances, name start. Code command using access token. We don't want access token. We want client secret ID. And this is not supposed to give you back a token, actually. It's supposed to give you back. This is another thing that I'm going to hit as soon as I try to do something besides restream, because every provider, some of them use a code and then upgrade it to a token. And so we just give, apparently I just give a token directly. So they're all slightly different. And the flow that I have is one style of flow. I have a feeling in this little thing that I'm writing, I'm going to have to create alternative flows. Even if it turns out I have to write custom code that fires up everything every time, that's fine too. At least I have the library of functions and server stuff to pull out to use to do that. Access tokens, it's a lot easier. It just pulls it up. Bear access token. Yeah, that's not a big deal. It just gives you a new one on the last line. This is probably, where's the refresh token? Replace with your access token. Yeah, this is not hard at all. I do not understand this thing here though. That is really freaking me out. That's got to be something deep down inside. Yeah, look and see they're cutting access token out with JQ, which everybody should have. Token save access token set dash p access token. Huh. This, you know what this is? You know what's interesting about this? Because they're using the same URI, they are handing off without starting up the intermediate server and parsing anything. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. That is awesome. So whatever this thing is, I really want to be sure that that's supported. I don't know. I want to say maybe that's using some kind of FIFO tech, or I have to figure out what that is, because if I can do that, I don't even have to fire up a server at all. Because that's what they're doing. That is super awesome. So please don't be a Windows only technology. What? As part of the, is this part of OAuth? This value indicates that Google's authorization server should return the authorization code in the browser's title bar. This option is useful if the client cannot listen to a port without significant modifications to the client. Oh my God. My job just got a lot easier. What is that a standard someplace? What's going on? Hey, welcome.
I drank out of one. I can't remember.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Take that one.
Ooh, germs. I got Doris germs now. Thank you. What'd you make me?
It's a cider from last night.
Oh, it's so decadent and wonderful. Thank you so much.
Are you talking to the mic?
I'm talking to my mic. What's up? Are you done?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get ready for bed now.
All right.
I'm in bed.
Me too. Oh my God, that's so good. She made apple cider, spicy apple cider. Today I learned that this is a thing. So I am really glad I learned this. Did you guys know about this before? Yeah, this apple cider stuff is fantastic. This must be part of the native app stuff. I need to read all the OAuth stuff beginning to end. I'm not excited to do it, but I need to. Wow, there's like, apparently I'm the last one to learn this. Yeah, no, this was a YouTube live stream API. Well, yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways to do this. This apparently is a part of it. So yeah, there's that same thing we saw the other day. What I'm starting to think is that this URI tells the server, I want to leave it in the browser, in the query string. If that's true, then wait a second. Let me think about this for a second. I really need to follow this. I wish I had a shell script that did this. So this starts Explorer. It starts Internet Explorer, or starts Chrome or whatever. Sends the authorization code, and it waits around for the thing, and then you have to. Oh, I see what it's doing. I see what it's doing. I see what it's doing. There's some. Oh, this is interesting. So there is some special code that gets printed in the browser, and then you have to copy and paste it. And I don't want to do that. So this is not good enough. This is not good enough. This is not good enough because this is just using the browser itself. And then it's basically doing what I was doing before. I didn't realize there was a more elegant way of doing it, but I would send back in my shell scripts. I would just send to a redirect to like localhost, and I would go to the browser and cut and paste it out of the URL and just put it where I needed it. But I want something more elegant than that. And so yeah, that's good to know, but that's not going to address my need. I'm going to make a note about it though, because I don't want to forget about it. I definitely need to play around with let's do this redirect which indicates to any Oath2 server that the response is local and the data is okay to be presented to the query string in the response, allowing it to be pulled out, cut and paste into the terminal, prompting for it. However, I want to do more than that. I want to pass that data directly to a temporary HTTP server that then passes it with in the same runtime to the client side within the app, the command line app. Essentially, effectively taking care of the cut and paste step, doing it internally. That's what's going on. All right, so yeah, it's interesting stuff, and now I know to go look about it, but I'm done with my fascination. This is going to cover me. So I'm opening the browser, and then normally the other program would say, okay, now go cut and paste the thing in, but instead I'm also going to run a server. In fact, I'm going to start the server first. I'm going to put all this down here. Set the state and URL for this authorization flow. And then we're going to open a local HTTP server to handle the incoming redirect data. And then what? And then fire off the local browser, user browser, for them to authenticate. Nope, too many. Login is fine. Okay. So yeah, and then so we need to fire off the server. How do we do that? So we got to fire off the server, and I'm gonna do that with I already have start server, so. And the part about this is that the server is started with the context. That word's been stolen by Golang. Has special meaning now, but I mean like the general terms context. The same app data context. And the reason that that's important is because both the server that's started and the client that's going to be triggered will both already know about each other, because they will both have the same state identifier. And that gets rid of the problem of communicating that in other ways. And this is fine because we trust each other, because it's one application doing both things. All right. So what? Start server. The other thing about this too is that once I start a server, I can't stop it easily. I can. I mean, it doesn't. I can, because I'm going to have to wait around for the channel. In fact, we could probably put that down here actually. So I'm going to actually just read from the Chan for right now. And that's good enough. So we're going to go ahead and make a server. So we're going to make com is a, it's going to be a channel of interface, which is just whatever I want to send down it, which is really convenient. And I'm going to start this server so that it knows about the app data, which is not going to change. And that's not safe for concurrency, but doesn't need to be. This is one of those cases, by the way, where I'm pretty sure if I were doing this with Rust, I would have an extra 30 lines to write or something. So I'm okay with this being unsafe, for this particular scope, where Rust would never let me do that. There's actually a downside to languages that force you to do everything one way, because sometimes, and that would be why C is not like that. C needs the ability to have multiple pointers pointing to shared memory in order to do things the most efficiently. Otherwise, we couldn't have operating systems at all. So that's what I think about that. I know you didn't ask, but tough. I have the mic. All right, so I'm not angry. I'm just talking. All right. I think we got it. I think that is an entire auth sequence right there, ready to run. Authorization. Now, the hard part is going to be testing this, particularly testing it safely. And that's why I wrote this mock login page. So I'm actually going to try this using my mock page. And this brings me back to working on the server itself, so that when it is resubmitted, we have some additional data in here. So I'm going to have to shift gears here. When I come back, the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to finish up my mock login page so that I can simulate the full OAuth flow using a server without having to use my own keys and stuff, or a dummy account. And that's part of this tool that I want to build. I want to be able to test auth flows, and potentially, the different types of authorization requests. This one that I do right away is the one that does the state and the gets back a code, and then that gets upgraded. So response type code, that's what response type code is about. So yeah, at some point this might have to rethink this, depending on how many response type flows want to support. I suspect there are other response types besides code. The code response type is, it gives you a code that's valid for a minute and then or so, and then you have to immediately upgrade it to a token. And the reason for that is so that you can check the state and make sure you didn't get man in the middle somehow. And so that seems to be the preferred one, and Restream seems to know what they're doing on that front. So yeah, hot potato dialogue. It is kind of what it is. That is exactly what it is. We're like, okay, you have it now. Okay, you can have it back. And we have to do all of that because the service didn't implement a simpler form of authentication. So I don't have a choice. My opinion about whether this is overly complicated and insecure, it doesn't matter. I'm forced to do this if I want to have a terminal application that uses their service, period. So that's why I'm doing it. But I am going to stop and get a little bit more of this wonderful cider, and I will put the fish back on. I shouldn't be too long. Oh, what do you know? We actually have a YouTube bot that activated. Thank you for testing the YouTube. The YouTube. I always put articles in front whenever I say I love it. It's on the YouTube. Mm. Oh my god, that's so good. Mm. How are you there, Mr. Battle of the Bulge? See, that's the restream bot we're trying to get rid of. So that I can talk to people from over there. This is the as you see me on Twitch right now. So yeah, RDBX Rob that live has most of them. So I'm on Periscope and there's just Twitter, which sucks by the way. Sorry Twitter, you suck. Because it like I go it's really I mean I paid a lot of money and go to a lot of effort to make sure I have a relatively audible voice, and then I go to like punch it up on Periscope on Twitter and it's like distorting my voice and doing all kinds of stuff and I'm like really I spent all this time making a high quality stream and you went and downsampled me to like this shitty thing for Twitter, and it really kind of is annoying. Hey Zardos. It's annoying because, and then I go to YouTube and it's fantastic, and you can say what you want about Twitter, about YouTube, but YouTube has really nailed quality video streaming. I mean, quality video production. The stream stuff sucks, but at least you get, transcoding and a bunch of other stuff. Is it worth working for FANG companies, trying to decide whether between AWS or Salesforce? You're not going to see me ever entertaining any FANG company except Amazon. And I would work for Amazon or Netflix, and those are the only two. What's the other A in your FANG? What am I missing? Facebook, for those who don't know, Facebook, Amazon, Apple. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, duh. Apple's just so not in my head at all. You couldn't pay me enough money to work in that fucking company. That no way, just no way. Yeah, Twitch looks better than YouTube. Oh yeah, you're over there. It is a little bit better. Yeah, I admit. So it's also real time and everything. Do you work for Amazon? I don't want to work for Amazon, but I would work for Amazon. Bezos, I mean, whatever you want to think of him, the guy's brilliant, and his head's in the right place. Yes, he wants to own the world. Yes, he doesn't want to give you property rights for your own books and videos. There's lots and lots of problems with Amazon, but as a company, I know people are going to yell at me for saying this, but Amazon is the least of the evils in that group. I actually think Netflix is even better. And if I were out of all of them, I would work for Netflix above all of the rest. But Amazon would be the next one. I just don't know if Netflix would be the place for me. I mean, I've watched Parmigian streams and a little bit about their intertech and everything, and I don't know if I would be as interested in their tech stack as I am anything that Amazon is doing. I actually talked with an Amazon recruiter at length some years back, like 5 or 6 years back, and they're like, that was a really, really great experience. It was an awesome recruiter. She was really funny, and I mean, she was a perfect recruiter, at all the right qualities, and just, really informative and snarky and I, yeah, so I got kind of lulled. Sam, I interviewed with Facebook a little bit too, back when I let myself believe that maybe I could do something to change the world and kind of do a Mr. Robot, kind of do an Elliot and fight from the inside at Facebook to try to, fight for change within the company, which is, you're just kidding yourself. You're not changing nothing in that company. The end. Nope. Zuckerberg's like, even does his hair like Caesar. He thinks he's some fucking god to the world, and he's destroying us. Yeah, it's always interesting to see. I'm having a little break here with my cider, so I'm going to rant a little bit. But I find it really fascinating what happens to people when they become billionaires. And Brutus moment, I know. I'm just fascinated by what happens to people when they get billions and where they go with it. I mean, I remember I was down the street, literally, like, when I say that, I mean I was in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, when Bezos got really famous. They were actually hiring CGI guys when I was at Teleport, and I could very easily have become a Bezos. I'm not bragging, but I made a big thing for Teleport that was on the side of buses, Teleport Webweaver. It was a big deal. And I was Nike's webmaster and all that stuff. But Bezos was making his wealth, and he was like, no, we need to put shopping on the internet. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. And then he just did it well. He just really executed on it, and he owned it. And whatever. I mean, I'd work at Microsoft before I would work at Google or Apple or Facebook right now, because they've got a lot going on there. I think he was an ass before he had money. Yeah. Well, look, there's like, how do I put this? How would Dennis put this? there's like, there's like Larry Ellison asshole, and then there's like Bezos asshole, and then there's like 20 something Bill Gates asshole. There's different levels of asshole. And they're all different. And you know what's funny? I mean, look, for all his flaws, Jack from Twitter, he is my favorite billionaire right now. And you know what? That dude, you can say what you want about him, that he's got a megalomania complex or whatever, but the more money he gets, yeah, there you go. The more money Jack gets, and talk about somebody with power. If you talk about power instead of just wealth, Jack and the people at Google, they have the most power on planet Earth right now. Facebook is probably a close second. And is that the clip? Is that the clip of Dennis and Larry? I think I know what clip that is. I'm a little afraid to open it. Yeah, it is.
It's always the same.
Yeah, here he goes. I knew it was coming.
How much do you want, Larry?
Oh, God.
Larry?
I know. I can't. It's inappropriate for children, so don't look away. Look away, people. Did I say don't look away? Oh my gosh, look at all these terrifying things that also popped up. I had a feeling that clip was going to come out. I just kind of knew it. Yeah, he actually had it right there. He knew it was coming. So, but I can't, it's so, could I have been one? Yes, I could have. I could have easily been one of those assholes. That's actually kind of hard for me, because I knew about the internet, and I was coding HTML pages before any of those people even knew about it. I was doing all that stuff. I was just young. I had young kids, and I was doing other stuff, and I kept asking myself, why am I not starting an internet service provider? I actually helped start an internet service provider, FiberNet, which is still out there. I sold, and so I could have, I very easily could have went the way of any of those other guys if I had been a little bit more hungry. And frankly, I don't know what sacrifices I would have had to make if I could have done it. It's like one of those things where you look back and go, what if, right? But there are lots of other fantastic engineers that are my age or older who could have done that and just chose a different path. And I don't know. But when I look at Jack, and I'm gonna wrap up my little break here. But when I look at Jack, I see a guy who seems to me, and I could be wrong. Maybe you guys have information that I'm unaware of, but from every indication I have with him, he seems to be attempting to do the right thing. Every time they throw him up in front of one of those Senate hearings, he's deferent, he's respectful, and yeah, he could have bought Bitcoin for $1. I know. I mean, just think about that for a second, right? And we were just all too busy doing other things. It wasn't that we didn't think it would be anything. It was just like we were just busy doing other things. And that's why I didn't do what I could have done. I mean, I had a great career. I was Nike's internet webmaster, went all over the world doing all kinds of great things. But but it was a different career, and it was, you know, but if I had had the guts to put something on the line, and if I understood how venture capital works, and if I had the hunger that some of these other guys do for money, I don't believe Jack did. I really think Jack kind of stumbled into all that, you know, and he talks about that in that famous code.org video. I mean, that's actually a kind of a fun video. You'll never recognize these billionaires anymore, but it's worth pulling up just to get a little, kind of a little, have a little fun time. Actually, if we go to YouTube, I don't believe this is copyright, so I don't think I'm going to get a strike for it. I hope not. It's like, so code.org. It's like a really old video. You guys remember this video? Yeah. You remember this one? Let me see if I can reshape this so I can see your chat while we're chatting here. Give me a sec. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know how to use graphic. I can't graphic. I can't GUI. I can't GUI very hard. I GUI hard. All right, so I got to see what you guys are saying. But look at these. Look, there's Mark. I mean, this is a long time ago. This is now 7 years ago. This video came out right when nobody was teaching coding, and that's when I started SkillSec, by the way, in 2013. And this came out after I started SkillSec, but it was still really interesting. But there's Jack. Did you see him? So there he is. There's Jack. You never recognize him now. Like back in 2013, and now you look at all these people now, and I don't know if that's too loud. Is that too loud? I should probably put it on and listen to it. Can you? Oops, you can't even hear it.
I was 13 when
I guess that's fine.
first got access to a
There's
computer.
Mr. Gates.
My parents bought me a
There he is. Look at him.
Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old. I was
Isn't
in
that great?
6th grade.
Look at this dude.
In college.
She's
Freshman
awesome.
Year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wonder if she's still there. And Hattie, the
Around
venture
the
capitalist
place,
turn.
tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, "What's your favorite color?" or "How old are you?"
Anyway,
learned how to make
I'm
a
only
green
watching this. I mean, it's
circle
all
and a
the
red square
all of the
appear on
sentiment
the
in it is
screen.
kind of dated
First
at this
time
point.
I actually had
Mr.
somebody
Gabe,
come up and say,
Creative
"Hello,
Valve.
world," and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
I made a
Learning
computer
how to
do
program
that.
can start off as wanting to learn
Look at him
all
now.
of computer science
Look at
or trying to
So-
master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because
You
I
know,
wanted to do
I actually-
this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was
I
fun
wanna
for myself
redo this.
and my sisters, and I wrote this little program.
That last little thing. Yeah, I want to redo this and just say, yeah, he gave. But when he does this thing, I want to redo it and I want to dub it and say, to think that you know I could make a web page that ranked girls' faces against each other, and that 1 billion people could rank people's faces compared to each other, and I could get paid for that. It's just amazing, isn't it? Because that's what he did. It's not this, you know, this is a perfect example of why Zuckerberg is just a perfect example of how clueless you get. He actually thinks he's saving the world, that these gods, you know, savor to the earth. And he really thinks that he's, at this point in the video, he's already convinced himself that he has made a tool that is making the world a better place and that is helping everybody connect. He's perfectly convinced himself that everything he did to get to this point was okay. And, you know, and that's why I'm watching the Scientology Netflix special, because it talks to you about how people, you know, it's all over in our world right now. I don't want to get into politics right now. I swore I was going to avoid it. But this idea, including me, we're all potentially subject to creating our own reality and hiding away the really negative things. And believe me, I've done plenty of negative things. But for him to think that, oh, hey, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to help people learn to code and it's going to be a great thing. And forget the fact that I learned how to code to rank girls against each other, and then I stole the idea of my other roommates and all the other shit that he did. You know, we can't be judged completely by our folly in college and stuff like that. But he's looked past that completely and he doesn't see it. And you know, in another degree, I mean, how many Hollywood actresses and actors have become famous after doing porn or something? And I'm not even against porn necessarily, but you know what I'm saying? It's like they kind of just conveniently forget where they came from, and then they move on. And I think it's just a human failing that we all do. And I'm sure I do it too, you know? So anyway, just something to be aware of. It's fascinating. You're asking me which one would I rather be, which FANG company would I rather work in to bring this back to where we started. And of all the FANG companies that I could work for and not want to, you know, feel like I was a sellout, which is a big thing for me. Yeah, you want to watch the documentary, the Netflix documentary. It's pretty interesting. From Leia Remini. She's just amazing. I tweeted about her. I tweeted because it just really triggered a bunch of things for me, but being raised Mormon. They do a whole episode on Jehovah's Witness too. I'm not slamming religion. I'm just reporting on what I saw. Anyway, so the question was, which company would I want to work for? And one piece of advice I would say to anyone who's young, just do not sacrifice your soul, no matter how much you think it's going to be worth it. Just don't. It's not like if you don't believe me, go watch The Social Experiment. Yeah, I've seen all of Black Mirror. Yep. Where he's out in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty much modeled after Jack, I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah, but the reason I like Jack the most out of all of them is because of how he deals with people when he's put under extreme stress. The idea that he was able to tell these absolute assholes. I mean, particularly that one woman, I don't even know her name, who asked, she had Sanja, she had the CEO of Google there, and her first question is, did you fire that guy who was not nice to me? That was her first question for him. First question. Go watch it. It's insane. You know, that's where we are in our politics, you know, kindergarten politics. And, you know, she didn't ask him about privacy violations or anything else. That was her first question. It's like, how petty do you have to be? And how the fuck did you get elected? Anyway, so I have to calm down now. This is why I don't talk about this stuff. But when you think about Jack, let me think about him. When he's asked point blank by a total asshole, what does he say? Doesn't even stroke his beard or anything. He just says, okay, so did you know whether or not there was any truth to this New York Post article, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. Did you have any evidence that it wasn't true? I said, no. He said, then why did you shut it down? I says, because, and I don't even remember the words, but he ultimately, of course, this Republican asshole just like ripped him a new one and said, see, I told you were right. I told you. It turns out it was all a bunch of crap, right? Just more lies. We have even Republicans throwing other Republicans under the bus for being corrupt in America right now. So I'm not even going to go there. But what we didn't see is what we didn't focus on is the quiet response that Jack had, and for a billionaire with all the power in the world right now, who can literally shut down the president from being able to communicate with the rest of the world. That's how much power Jack. You want to talk about power? You know, if Jack wanted to, he could start a world war. I mean, if he wanted to, he wouldn't. But I mean, he could. Zuckerberg could do the same thing, but not nearly as powerful as Jack. Jack has the real power. Twitter is, you might hate it, but Twitter is far more powerful than Google any day. And so, you know, and what is his answer? His answer is, you know what? We were wrong. We shouldn't have done that. We'll unblock it. And people complain about Twitter being biased and it being one-sided, and sure, they have to put people in jail for, you know, breaking their policies. And I sometimes get frustrated because they're really arbitrary, because they're doing their best to enforce policies that are almost impossible to enforce. They can't just let everybody put whatever they want. There's no regulation on the thing in general, but he's willing to work with regulators. And I actually think that's really fucking awesome, because of all of the billionaires, he's the only one that I know of in our times who has said, we'll do better. Zuckerberg said, we'll do better, turned around and did worse things. Jack was embarrassed, point blank, by a total asshole, and said, you know what, you're right. And he opened it up and let him post a bunch of lies that are worse than being posted in the Inquirer. And then they finally said, okay, well, we're at least going to have some boundaries. So they revised their policies and they said, okay, we're going to do this thing with, we've got to thwart election fraud. We have got to thwart misinformation when it's factually incorrect, according to the most, bipartisan groups that we can find. We have to tell the population that this potentially contains disputed information, or it contains non-factual information. We have to stand in, and we're gonna get railed on by both sides to do it, but we have to do this without shutting down the dialogue. And frankly, I think Twitter did an amazing job. And people hate me for saying that, particularly people who didn't get their way. I think it's so funny that all of a sudden, all these people turn on Fox in a second. They turned on Fox. How long did it? That needs to be a meme. How long did it take you from going to Fox is the only true and balanced thing on the planet to Fox is the devil? Whatever happened to Fox? Literally, it took a second. They reported one thing that they didn't agree with. Oh yeah. Oh my God. So they reported one thing they didn't agree with, and all of a sudden, they're the devil. Meanwhile, Twitter has put up with the crap of trying to stay as balanced as they can. Yeah. So, can you imagine being in that job? I got put in Twitter jail a couple times while I was participating in the election week, when I took the week off because I had to. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they put me in jail. I deserved it. And it gave me a chance to kind of think about it and like, what was I really saying? Why was I saying this? And they didn't take my account away. It was kind of like a timeout. And people, the Twitter community jokes about it all the time. They have multiple alts and everything, and then they'll say, well, when my main is out of, I don't do that. But when they say actually, I do things that are pretty dangerous by most Twitter standards. Most people would never use their actual identity to say some of the shit I've said. But I don't care. It's like, I am who I am. If it's whatever. So yeah, but then Twitter got really quiet all of a sudden because everybody stopped tweeting. I think it was two things. I think the bots stopped being activated, and I think that's actually been something I've been really fascinated with Twitter. I've been fascinated with identifying actual bots or running on botnets and stuff. I would really, if I ever, Twitter is one of those companies that I would also work for. They're not on the top of the list. They're not a FANG company technically, are they? I mean, that's a company that I would work for Twitter. Because I believe in what they're trying to do, even if they're not always succeeding. And I got to tell you, Jack will remain my favorite billionaire forever because he humbly accepted the critique from one of the biggest assholes in the room ever to exist. And he could have fought back. But even with that guy, he set an example for all billionaires and said, you know what? I can do better. And I'm going to do better. And then he did better. And that's the difference between him and Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's a bunch of full gassy air. Doesn't do shit. Does nothing except for what he wants to do. Builds escape hatches into his office in case he gets attacked. That's a true story. You can go look that up. Just be glad you don't ever have to deal with that many billions. People say, oh, it's a great problem, right? Tesla, oh God, yes. I would be at SpaceX in heartbeat. Tesla, I've heard they beat up people there. I've been watching the SpaceX launches a lot recently. I was watching the one in them in space. Yeah, I was. It's really kind of funny. Did you hear? If you want to get a kind of a joke, kind of go watch last night's first broadcast. I could probably pull it up. There's a broadcast from Tesla, no, from SpaceX, where it's got the astronauts, and I'm just gonna pull it up. I can put this on because it's not a violation, and I can get my work done while we're watching it. It's super cool. But I really love when you watch this, guys. I love the difference in the comportment, I think is the word, of the Americans and the Japanese. The Japanese head of their SpaceX is kind of like reading from a paper and everything, and the Americans are like, "Yeah, baby." It's kind of funny. But I tell you what, this 4K stuff and seeing these people in space now is like really making this shit real for me, because you look at these people and it's like, this is not the 1960s anymore. These people have spacesuits that are like, you know, a workout suit. They're like, they basically, their spacesuits are looking like stuff that we saw in sci-fi in the 90s, and they are in space for 6 months at a time, and they can land those rockets, which is just so amazing. That is something I would love to be involved with. I don't know that I mean, I'm sure they can find a place for me, but that's not the kind of job. I've heard that that's not the kind of job you should ever have if you have a family. It's like those kind of jobs are so intense, right? And you get into them really intensely, and I mean, any job is hard enough to keep balance. I would think working there would be even harder. But yeah, let me see if I can find it. It's they've been streaming on Twitch, right? They probably are. Okay, guys. All right. So can we just stop and think about this for a second? We live in a time when you can pull up a site, you can click on a few buttons, and you have a direct high resolution feed into a spacecraft in orbit. Live streaming, whatever's happening there. Just think about that for a second. Valve, I couldn't work for Valve personally. There might have been a time in my life when I could have worked for Valve. Valve isn't doing anything for the planet and for humanity. Look, I'm not against games. Don't get me wrong, right? If I'm going to work for a game company, it would probably be Valve above the other ones, because I like their business practices better than all the rest. They're not a Bethesda. They don't beat people to shit, which is now Microsoft. We'll see how they do with that. But I just couldn't work in the game industry, period, because my heart wouldn't be in it. It's like, how am I saving the world? You know, look, people say that about artists all the time, right? So we need art, obviously. I'm not against art, and I'm not against games. I personally, if I knew that every second of my day was going to be coding on a game or a system that was going to provide enjoyment and all of that, it wouldn't be enough for me to do that. That's not a big enough difference for my time, how I want to spend my time. However, you know, I have fond memories of playing games with my kids that I couldn't see, you know, playing, you know, TF2 for years, you know, and that those are kind of memories that'll be with me forever that I have with my family that wouldn't have existed had I not been playing TF2. If TF2 or Overwatch didn't exist, I would never have those memories. Frankly, Minecraft couldn't have those memories if they didn't exist. So my point is, I'm not against games. I just don't think that personally you have to answer the question, why? Why are you alive? What are you here to do? And as soon as you answer that question, you can answer all the other ones. What do I need to learn? What company do I want to work for? What skills is that company hiring? Khan Academy, I'd work for in a heartbeat. Yep, I would definitely work for Khan Academy. I've thought about it, actually. One of the main Khan Academy content creators is on my Twitter feed, and I introduced her to Jamstack and that approach to web development. Yeah, we had a kind of a nice exchange on Twitter. I mean, and that's, again, Twitter is a miracle. You can actually talk to people that you would never get a chance to communicate with. You know, Brendan Ike and I have gone back and forth a little bit on a few things a long time ago. You know, and the guy made JavaScript. So it just depends on, we live in an amazing time, all things considered. I know it's scary, but it's still pretty amazing. I'm trying to find my, where is my, I'm not very good with the Twitch. I don't use graphics that much, as you know. So SpaceX. The thing that's really crazy is that I can produce content, and in a window right next to it could be content coming from SpaceX. It's like, think about that for a second. You can stream from your, you know, humble little workstation and be, you know, in the same like queue as stuff that is this.
Ahead of us,
This is them yesterday. This isn't even the best part of it. Oh wait. Here, I'm gonna go back. All right, you ready? I know I need to probably leave tonight. I'm probably gonna after this. I'm probably just gonna chill and go to bed. I'm not gonna get anything done. I'm just screwing around. So this is the best part of this whole thing. It's like they're all muted, right? I mean, isn't that? I'm gonna full screen this, ish. I guess I am. Look at that, man. Look at how sharp that resolution is. They're like, what are these little dots? Is that something on the? Is that dust particles or water condensation? So she's got her laptop there. That hair, though, man. That hair. You can't make that. You just cannot make that up. I mean, isn't that crazy? Look at this, though. I want to show you some part. So, oh, there's her hair. Her hair's going by. I should probably know her name. I don't. Dude, these people are like in space. They're like space. Like real space. I'd be just impressed if they went to the bottom of the, like, the Mariana Trench or whatever. What's that one? What's the name of the trench? You guys know? I think we have a lot more sea exploration to do too. That is the weirdest thing. That is just the weirdest thing. Can you hear him talk? I can't. Anyway, wait, where was it? Oh, that's a nice hug. Dude, they gotta live with each other. It's like, there we go, the modern mission control. Wow. These guys are awesome. I just like that we still have science like this going on. Is it Mariana Trench? Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that kind of thing too. Who knows? You know, we might actually pull it off. I was going to try to... Here, where is it? It's like, this is kind of a funny one right here. Look at this, watch it. Here it comes. So he can't... So they're all getting in here, and then he comes late. Here he comes. I should know their names, I don't. Here he comes. And they're all muted still. So it's not just me. And then here he comes, here he comes. He can do the flip. He's gonna do the flip. He's just bumped the camera, see? Here he goes. Watch this move, man. He's like, here we go. Ready, go. Leave it to the Russian. Yeah, Russian gets a 10 for now. Like they're fixing their shirts and stuff. It's like, I have to look good on camera. I gotta fix my arms. I love it. I love it. They're just so human. They're just so awesome. I mean, who wouldn't want to be up there with them? It'd be a blast, man. So, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm on camera." I love it. Okay, so now I think they finally get to talk. I can't hear though. Here, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna skip all the talking though, because you can go watch the talking on your own. So.
Miss Leaders, please call station for a voice check.
Why is it repeating? Why is it repeating?
How do you hear me?
Hello, Kathy. We hear you loud and clear.
Wow, I can't tell you how great it was to
Uh-oh.
see you all come across the hatch.
What the heck? Where is that coming from, people? Where is that coming from? I must hunt and destroy the echo. I must find and destroy it. Find and destroy the echo. Oh, are you kidding me? Have I had this on the whole time? Is that the one? Is this the one? Yeah, that one's off. I'm so sorry. Is that the one? How about this one? No, that's it. That's not that one. No, that one's off. All right. All right. Well, what else we got? No, not that one.
On behalf of the joint SpaceX and NASA team, who you know have expended.
日本の皆さん、そして世
There we
界
go.
の皆さん、今年は、コロナはじめ非常に厳しい状況があったかと思います。
Oh, wait. Here we go.
Say hello to you.
And, it's been an incredible journey, and it's really amazing that this is.
He's like shooting from the hip.
The start of operational crew rotation.
They got a pretty good mic, by the way.
Space Station from the Florida coast, and so it was an amazing ride. I can't tell you how excited we were when that rocket lifted up the pad.
I can imagine. Here comes the Japanese.
Thank you, Ms. Leaders. We now welcome JAXA President Dr. Yamakawa Hiroshi to provide remarks. Dr. Yamakawa, please.
To provide remarks.
Station, this is Yamakawa. How do you hear me?
Yamakawa-san, we hear you loud and clear. This is International Space Station.
Just love it.
Thank you, Noguchi-san.
They're so formal.
Very much excited about your launch this morning. It inspired courage and delight of all Japanese citizens to bear up COVID-19 pandemic. Anyway, I really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now.
Yay.
Noguchi-san, it is very significant for JAXA that you are on board this operational spacecraft of
Just listen to that line again. Can I do it one more time? I gotta go to bed here, but that line. Listen to him. He's like, I really feel relieved that you're okay. And he's literally reading from the one line that you didn't have to read was like, I'm glad you're okay. And he reads it. I just love it. Here we go.
Thank you, Noguchi-san. We were very much excited about your launch. Really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now.
We really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now. It's like, we are so glad you made it okay. You know, what is it about people who can't... I'm glad you did not die. Thank you very much. Yes.
It is very significant for JAXA that you are on board the first operational spacecraft of Crew Dragon and was launched.
Plus, it's English. You know, it's not his first language, so he might not even know what the inflection is. You know.
Is the outcome of the long-standing partnership with NASA and all the other international partners. I also believe that your efforts at ISS from today will take on more importance on the ISS utilization and operations, and for future international space exploration beyond the low Earth orbit to the Moon and Mars. We are always behind you. Good luck and enjoy your time in space. Noguchi-san, 皆さん全集中で頑張ってください.
Oh, I want to learn Japanese.
Thank you, Dr. Yamakawa. Thank you for the kind words. And we are very humble and happy to be here. This is the first operational flight of the Crew Dragon. And I took
wrote it himself, yeah.
Hours, but
I would agree too. I just think he did write it himself. I think he looks a little bit nervous. Did you notice how he... I mean, for a I don't mean any disrespect here, but for a Japanese person to like... to like... teeter a little bit, kind of like out of being this uncomfortable pause. Yeah, that means he's probably really nervous. I mean, from what I know of Japanese culture, I was over there for a while actually. I covered the Olympics in Nagano for Nike. It was really great. But
crew member Expedition 64, we have a lot of utilization ahead of us, and we are ready to work. 日本の皆さん、そして山川理事長、本当にありがとうございます。この ISS にまた戻ってくることができてとても、感無量です。日本の皆さん、そして世界中の皆さん、今年は、コロナはじめ非常に厳しい状況があったかと思いますけれども、 この困難に打ち勝つという気持ちで
Did anybody get that?
レジ
You
リエン
guys,
スと
do you
名前を
understand
つ
that?
けて、頑張ってきてます。理事長おっしゃられた通り全集中で頑張りたいと思います。応援本当にありがとうございます。
Gozaimasu, gozaimasu, gozaimasu. I learned enough to know that anytime you hear a lot of gozaimasu, that means they're speaking really formally. So, hey, gave him the thumbs up. And these guys are like, hey, we're chilling. Look at that.
In the Crew 1 welcome ceremony. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.
He's like busting it. He's like laughing. There's the American. And the Japanese are all like down to business. Anyway, I love it. You asked me about SpaceX, and this is what you got. I love it. There's a part of me that I made you listen. Apologies that you made you listen to. Yeah, exactly. They are. That's my look. I can't presume to understand the Japanese culture the way some of my friends have. I have a friend who spent several years over there, and another one actually who lives there still. And we've had people on the stream who live there, and I was blown away by everything when I was in Nagano. One of the first things I remember though was that when they stuck us on the bullet train, Berlin Resiliency Party. they literally have these two people outside of the bullet trains.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this coverage
Yay.
of our commercial crew mission.
Ooh, you see these right here? Those are good mixer boards right there. That's a nice mixer boards. It looks like that's not a Yamaha, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Did you hear me? You're following me on that? Yeah, they have stuffers and they wait outside the train. I kid you not, you cannot be shy. I mean, when I was in Russia before that, sometime before that, it was really packed and everybody just stuffed themselves in. And of course I've been in New York a lot too, and people are just familiar with it, but I've never had someone literally stuff you in so the door would shut. That is exactly their purpose. Defragglers. No way. Oh God, that was the craziest thing. I just talk about COVID. This is why the Japanese understand mask stuff. And they've been wearing masks for a long time because, flu season, everybody gets knocked out of the workforce because they're in such close proximity all the time. It's not political. They just do it because it's a part of their culture, and it's a part of their culture to. The first time I saw somebody with a mask, and I think it was in Nagano. I was like, why is that person wearing a mask? Just on the street, and it looks so weird to me. I was like, that is so weird, and I love that it's being normalized. And a lot of people will be really angry at me for saying that, but talk about respect. In Japan, if you're sick, the amount. It seemed to me, and I'm just making quick assumptions here. It seemed to me that the level of respect for the other people around you in Japan is higher than I've experienced in other places. And I don't know if that's completely true or not. What I've heard is that I don't know if this is true. This comes from a Japanese person. They said that the Japanese are a lot like Americans in the 50s. There's a lot of external perception and respect that's happening on the street in the culture, but there's a lot happening under the surface that if you knew about it, you'd know that it's more about appearances than it is, that much better than some of the other cultures. So whatever, but that's just my impressions. I would go back in a heartbeat though. I mean, if I could, I love Japan. Yeah, I snowboarded in Japan first time. Actually, I made a fool of myself. Never done it before. I'd skied in Utah my whole life and then could not snowboard in Nagano. That locked themselves up for years after personal defeats. Yeah, there's documentaries on that. Their whole approach. The Chinese too, of course, not just, I don't think it's just Asian cultures. I think there's a lot of you know what? I don't presume to know. I don't want to have a cultural appreciation turn into racism. That's not what this is. And that's always a tough thing, and I hope to be able to talk about some of these topics on the Sunday podcasts where we don't know what we're going to call it yet, but I'm going to bring people together from different age groups and just have a chat. It's just dialogue about some of these things, because I'd like to get some of the other issues on this. But one of the ones that kind of annoys me is that we can't discuss cultural differences. I find them fascinating, and I really enjoy talking about them. They're not generalizations. They're not saying everybody does it. They're not, bigoted. But these days, you almost can't even bring up a difference between a culture in some circles without it being interpreted as being racist in some way. And it's not at all what I'm talking about it, because I'm absolutely fascinated by the different languages. Yeah, I absolutely am fascinated by languages and cultures, and Japanese, and particularly I really want to learn Chinese. I'm so bummed that I didn't get to. I actually tried to stay, and I was already there 6 years, and I tried to stay another couple of years because I wanted to pick up Chinese. Actually, that's not true. I wanted to pick up Chinese inside, but I asked them if I could go back and get an accounting degree because I didn't think I could get a job with my Russian degree. And I couldn't, actually. So I had to learn the internet and got a job as a computer guy. It had nothing to do with my major. But if I had gone back, I would have definitely went into Chinese as well, because it's talk about an amazing language. It's just so fascinating. So talk about that all day. People, I'm going to call it for tonight, and then I'll probably be up. I'll be back up around 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm working on a 4-hour sleep schedule. So far, it's been going really good. It's been going much better than I would have expected. So yeah, if you want to check back at 2 or 3 in the morning, I should be back on, and I'll be coding on something else, and see how that works. Who knows? It might not work. But when I come back, I'll of course be working on coding more of this interaction that's happening here, and just work on this little terminal app with some OAuth stuff. I'm gonna leave it up too. I'm not even gonna really close down the chat down here. I'll leave it all up. But yeah, thanks for keeping me company. This is why I do this. I'll keep some of that stuff up. I think I might. Well, not which one. This is Restream. Okay. All right. Good night.